Hello everyone, welcome to Game 3 of the All Hands on Deck tournament match between Team 1, which is the ANS. My Burning Lance is the name of their squadron. We got Von Luck, First Legion, Best Legion, also known as Ash and Gold, Toxic, and Bad Cake on the blue team ANS. Versing off against them is going to be the OSP representing Baby Blue Seals, or maybe it's the other way around. Who knows? Anyways, Baby Blue Seals over here consists of Jars, Sultan Kiwi, Fresh Dumbledore, aka ES on Discord, and Gaming Royale. This is the third match and going to decide who gets to proceed and who gets to get knocked out and go home in the tournament. Thankfully hosted by Vassal over there, so I didn't have to do any legwork for it. I just get to shoutcast. Oh yeah. Just waiting for everyone to lock in as we see it now, the map kind of as it's described. It is a large star base here in the middle, got a C point very high up. Naturals for each team are the B point and A point respectively. This map has a little hidden quirk to it that I quite enjoy, which is the, well, you know what? When it comes up in game, I'll just show you. That's much better that way. Anyways, 3 neutrals is the name of the game. E point and D point on the far outside wings with C point cast up high, so we'll see how these teams decide they want to develop. Typically see a lot of fighting along these kind of flat edges of the sort of central star base here. There's that ring that you can kind of go through in the middle there, so we'll see just how things go. All right. Looks like OSP has almost deployed themselves there. We're just getting their final lock-ins. Clock is on the board now. So we're going to see just where this game ends up for us. I am so glad I got to cast this series. It has been a lot of fun so far. Oh, hang on. Microphone. No. Come back, microphone. No. All right, don't knock your boom mic away from your mic. Yeah. Turns out microphones don't work when you push them away from your face. Lesson learned. Anyways, we're killing time now as we wait for the drop in. OSP is locked in. That's Team Baby Blue Seals getting the first drop there. Obviously having an advantage there. Clearly, yes. ANS, we're going to lock in as well. Let's see what these players have brought to dismantle each other in this final of these exhibition matches between them. You're going to see here immediately a frigate of some variant. We're going to see 3 hang-up jammers on this thing and an unknown belly. Let's go through this fleet real fast because this game will get on. All right. Bad Cake coming back with the fleet that they had brought in the first game. We're going to see a hang-up frigate here with, I believe, a a size 2 launcher on the belly. A bunch of those anti-craft size 2 SDM missiles. Very nice stuff. We're going to see this is displayed in a X formation. Centerpiece is going to be a Mark 64 jammer Sarissa brick. You're going to see accompanying this multiple of these. A couple of them have Sarissas on bottom, a couple of them have it on the top. Just a nice way of getting some overall coverage of the area. This is a 5 frigate squadron, and we're going to see accompanying this is going to be a singular Stonewall and Chaff box device sent over to cap the D point most likely, and then another singular such device sent to cap the B point. That is the only fast-moving asset on the ANS team, so they're really committing to winning this frontline fight. First Legion, Best Legion, aka going to be, that's Ash and Gold. They got themselves Mark 64 Voxels here. Looks like they've got themselves rebounds on this one. Any rapid cradles to buff those up at all? Yes, double rapid cradle lets you get that fast rate of fire whiplash drive on this thing. You see another one of these over here has a blanket jammer. This one's called LN number 3. Yes, little joke there about CLs being LNs. Nicely done. Interrupt jammer on the back of this one as well as another blanket. Nice to get that interruption there to deal with command missiles. I am seeing just rebounds on these. Might be vulnerable to size 2s. All right, what else we got? These are going towards B point as their cavalry. Toxic over here. Oh boy, they're doing the hell push again. 9,000 points in one place. I love to see it. They tried this in game 1, couldn't quite get it. Let's see if they get it second time around. Okay, 450 on the front of this thing. Defenders, Stonewalls, and a backpack, I believe, with a pair of Tontos, Whiplash, and Raider Drive on this thing. Gonna have a Parallax Radar, pretty conventional for one. Gonna look at the other one, has Interrupt Jammer, typical pairing you like to see for formations, similar point defense layout, but you can't really see it. 450s on this thing as well. This one has Spyglass, no triple track correlator or quadruple track correlator. Just going for Spyglass adaptive radar receivers, see what they can see. Accompanying them is going to be Von Luck taking up the other flank. We're going to see much of the same story. Might even be the same build as these players are on the same team and exchange techs. We see Whiplash Dragonfly. This one has 1 2-track correlators, a Spyglass, 3rd-track correlator, and a Frontline. Double radar on these things is an interesting choice. Kind of like it. You can get that accurate long-range firepower with quad-track correlator, or you can do the triple like this for good enough, and then have a Frontline as a reserve. Very power-intensive, though. Going to see similar story over here. This one is just a regular Spyglass with adaptive radar receiver. It takes a boost in the nose there, but that is very vulnerable. So, going to see how they end up developing. That one's got comms jammer on the back. They're committing towards this 9,000 point push towards east side. And, oh no! We're going NASCAR, baby. All right, let's take a look. What do we have over here? Let's start off with Fresh Dumbledore coming in with a Acello. This is the Plasma T30 Acello. Bit of a creature build, but, you know, kind of like it. It can do some work. Plasma is pretty good at cooking off that armor. Aurora's on the side. Some VLS2s on this thing as well. Got some of those anti-craft munitions. Red 6 for bombers and tornadoes for fighters. Not a single carrier in this entire run. I love these guys. You can give them carriers, but you know what? You can't make them use them. Let's see how they fist fight each other. Got C90s in the nose of this thing, T30 plasma on the belly there, got a Pavis on one side, antenna backup on the other, and then similar story here, just inverted, nice little escorts on that thing. Got a can opener midship, and then you're going to have these T30s and plasmas as well to provide a little bit more even distribution to that. Just talking about this one, just kind of having a little chit-chat. It's not that much going on. Gaming Royale going to be the other the other Acetos here. I always get X-Words and Acetos confused, like shuttles and sprinters and stuff. All right, you can see these heavy cruisers. No, that's heavy cruisers on the ANS side. OSP has command cruisers. These have comms jammer on the back, 450 on these. Got these Auroras, and then it looks like, I think they have a bullseye on the chin there. Yes, very nice stuff overall. These things are going to have big radar drive with a bunch of reactors and a spyglass. Other one going to have a similar story here with a parallax. Oh, no, the radar drive, the small one again. No, you fool, you didn't correct it. Oh, they'll figure out about that in the post-game. Anyways, take a look at the cap situation. B point natural going to go in the hands of the ANS as expected. Over on the A cap, we're going to see the OSP rolling out to it. Speaking of rollout, we're going to see over here from Jar, this is going to be a small investment naked capper. It says, I say Grum in front of my CO. Jar always has some interesting names in their fleet. I sent my captain memes. Oh no, that's why you got sent. That's why you're a capper. You ever wonder why you get stuck at a 90-point cap ship? Now you know why. Sundrive cap are going to run out here, potentially gets this cap off. Still a lot of fire going to be following up. Mark 64 is going to be barking out that 250 HE rounds. RPF would be better against a small evasive ship. Still might get the cap for a little bit and slow down the ANS just a second on that one. See, Jar has another one of these naked obligatory cappers. Nothing guarding the C point or the D point over here. ANS is heavily splitting. They committed their cavalry force of this triple CL fleet down here to guarding this B side, try and hold them back in order to allow this massive push to go over towards E side. And during this massive push, though, there's nothing for it to fight. It's just a free-range safari. And it's going to question how fast can you get onto the points here. Let's take a look. What's the rest of Jar's fleet? They've got a pair of these little... Ooh, very nice. All right, two of these cheaper vessels here. Got themselves some T20 and defense on the top there. Looks like a chaff box, if I can make it out just barely. And then a Pavis. Very nice stuff. These things going on safari across the top of the map. See what they can get. See immediate cleanup there, although the E point does get capped. C point capped as well. And then I think... nothing down to the D point yet. They're just pushing their front line up there. Let's see. What does Jar have for multi-mission? Yep. Multi-mission here does give up the pinpoint in exchange for that Pavis on it. Still runs Huntress on it, though, relying on allied locks. We're going to see where the other multi-mission is. This one is on the far side, realizing, nope, I'm getting the hell out of here. And jamming down range and then just committing to burn back to friendly territory. Over here, we see the final one going to be a multi-mission tug, but kind of reworked to be a... Ooh, actually, no, not a multi-mission tug. This has got mine layer on it. Has some defenses as well there with the bastions. Okay, setting up a nasty surprise for them to walk into. We saw there was a cheapo shuttle kind of just lurking around the map. We saw the two of them across the top there. There's going to be, two shuttle pairs kind of going around looking for stuff that they can get. And then lastly, it was the... Here we are, yes, the gun brick. This little goalie device. Very effective, as it's quite hard to knock this thing out with anything that's not 250 or above. Got a pair of T-30s and a container stack launcher on the nose with some decoy clippers. Ooh, reinforce and a sun drive on this thing. Does not have any radar, relying entirely on its allies there, I believe, right? No, actually, it's Bridgemaster. I just can't read. Anyways, that's going to be Jar's fleet. Let's go through this in a reasonable time because absolutely nothing is happening. Both teams have just gone on rotation against each other as First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, going to square off against the enemy front line. What is going to hit them in the teeth is going to be this. We saw these in the first game here. The Mastodon makes its return, 100 mil and Plasma Bulker here. Very good when it gets that top or bottom towards enemy, able to unleash a lot of damage. It's accompanied by a similar build, the Gojira, I think that's how you pronounce it. Whatever, I can totally pronounce names. I'm going to butcher it. It's my stream. Now we see both of these things very effectively can opener the ANS front line in the first game on Yukon. We'll see if they can do it again, escorting them. Actually, on the back line here, not escorting them, is going to be a early warning and a Bloodhound device here. Triple track correlator, adaptive radar receiver keeps this thing aware of the enemy. Going to spot them on approach here, seeing everything as there's a very open swath of space for that early warning radar to cover. Going to keep a Bloodhound on them for long-range suppression fire as well. Lastly, they've got a cheapo shuttle, which can win you games. We've seen what shuttles and corvettes in the late game can do with heroic backcaps. Anyways, frontline fight going to kick off now right proper as these CLs are not pointing nose towards enemy. Uh-oh, this is going to be a problem. Either they need to get their heading on target or they have... Well, they're going to have a bad time either way. So you see up here, Bad Cake losing one of their small capper devices. The Fatal Tire is currently knocked out on drive. Only a matter of time before it gets completely taxed out there. So yeah, there we go. That's the 100 mil that we love to see bite into a small asset like this. Good night, Sweet Prince. That's going to be First Blood. Actually... First blood went to the ANS team on the far side, but yeah, both team commits a naked empty device. In this case, ANS does invest more, going for that stone wall and other like investments on the ship here, versus just I said Grum one over here, just losing to basically like, what do you even call this? Like, that's like maybe 100 points at most. Quite cheap. Anyways, Bad Kick hitting the flank thrusters here, got that whiplash drive, get around the map pretty quickly, trying to go on a little adventure. Two very good sweeper fleets here. The CLs are quite good at punching down against light assets, and this group of frigates here can be quite hard to spot. Still, if a Bloodhound catches them from beyond the 10-kilometer range, they will get locked onto and done up very quickly. Jar running for their life in the backfield here. They are not detected currently, but still trying to get out of dodge because they know there's trouble coming this way. Full reverse NASCAR rotations. Both teams decided to turn right instead of left. Unfortunately, going to be Ash and Gold who's going to take this one, and is not pointed in the correct direction. Probably doesn't even know it's out here, not getting a full read of the situation due to the lack of long-range radar assets. Kind of a neutral trade just going on right now as both teams just play ring around the rosy. D-cap will get secured. That will be a 3-cap for the OSP team. ANS now has the choice of do they commit towards this backfield here. Bad Cake deciding to move into this back area might be able to pick off that like multi-mission, not a multi-mission, what do we call that thing? The CIA monitor, that's the word. Or they'll potentially find the goalie asset over here. This thing does get detected and is being jammed out. Can't see shit right now with its like small bridge master, not even enough range, plus the jamming. Ooh. This is going to be a kind of a delayed start game as both teams are going to acquire a couple points. We do see that the OSP team has very nicely now pulled ahead by 44 points there. Thank you, even numbers, making this quite easy for me to do math. C point is going to be important. We see that Jar has got back cap assets already in position in case the ANS commits onto that and they need to slide a asset in there for the win. Both teams have just committed a 40-degree rotation. Now it's on them to finally get into the game proper. Bad Cake looking like they're going to find Jar in the back here with a burn-through sweep. One of those had parallax in it, I was pretty sure. I forget which one exactly. I think the first one here. Yes, the Pillar Ache is going to find the parallax detection on that target. Still not enough to get a bullseye lock, and they're going to lose that after the burn-through sweep. Jar, in turn, counter jamming, starting to run for the hills here. They do have a lob to lock onto, so they're going to try and point that way. Speaking of jamming, here we go. Ash and Gold are going to be trying to rotate away from this, going to point their nose towards the enemy and see what exactly they can do. And the answer is not really that much. At the range bracket they have presented themselves in, they are quite vulnerable to this 450 fire, as it would be very, very bad if they were to take a couple random hits like, you know, just now. There we are. Starting to see the first bite in. They are outranged and outgunned on this flank. They need to get out of here, give ground, and then decide to commit to another angle. Little spicy, nasty surprise has been left behind here. Got some of these mines left on these mining rigs. Speaking of mining, let's take a look at this map special quirk. This is one of the coolest custom maps we have gotten just in terms of what it does. As you see, these mining rigs now, when the cap point has gone off, they start emitting these little asteroid rocks, and they get fed through these magnetic coils and then digested to be turned into cool spaceships. I love this map. It is so damn cool. All right. CLs, like we saw there, are playing the kind of evasive running game. Unfortunately, these things are whiplash drive only. No raiders on them from what I saw. So while they can go pretty quick, they unfortunately do not dodge the greatest. They also turn very, very slowly, having no dragonfly drive, and the whiplash's negatives. Means that gaming morale is going to take like a little bit of this on the nose. Still, 250 is not a major concern for an Acello. It has that kind of ablative like front side here. All these reinforced compartments here, workshop, aux steering, reinforced lockers, and the thrusters to just soak damage. 250 can add up over time, but you really want to get these CLs into a flanking shot where they can use that HE round into the juicy kind of like mid and aft section of the ship. Instead, they're just going to be taking it on the nose, and 450 going to do a lot more here as we see LN number 1 going to lose ammo elevators, bottom radar panels, loses small lockers, magazine immediately read it out. That's what 450 does to CLs caught in the open like this. A couple plasma shots starting to bark out here as we see a fresh Dumbledore wants a piece of the action, starting to get their guns on target. They've also got C90s, which can do a pretty fierce number against that. What is Ash doing? Probably their best. They're trying to give ground, not realizing that the enemy team had done the exact same strategy as they had. Bad Cake in the backfield will find Jar's Orion's Symphony here, and that is going to be one of the first pickoffs for the police squadron. Still, a large overinvestment. I've talked about this before. They're committing a number of their assets. Like, basically, the entirety of Bad Cake is like in these 5 frigates. This is all just caught up here, chasing down a multi-mission tug that costs maybe like 400 to 500 points here, depending on like how many bells and whistles you invest into. Not even that much left in this thing, really, so, yeah. Probably gonna, let's call it like a, yeah, 450. Break the difference. Gonna get a pickoff in the backfield there, which is nice, but still this is a commitment of a lot of assets here. OSP enters the second quarter of the game, 252 points on the board. They are looking pretty favored as they have found a frontline fight. If we take a look at this, the frontline has engaged against CLs and is eating one of them alive. This thing is not long for this world. Bombshell for good measure, just in case they can get through that plasmid armor plating. Damn, that is That is a little bad-mannered, I say. Probably want to see Hesh Round instead, but no, Bombshell will bite this thing and actually pen through because it has no armor plating anymore for the Plasma. Good to see just what these things end up doing. Once again, like, they've been trying to give ground here, but, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no, I know what's happened. Unfortunately, the lead ship here has suffered thruster issues, and because these are all stuck in formation together, they're all starting to slow down and get run up on and done up. No, a minor error there, not turning off your formation, instead keeping them close to the wounded capital in the centerpiece here. These other ones are going to get run up for free. Oh, no. Bit of an error there, but we're going to see just how hard it is punished. Going to see over here Fresh Dumbledore just committing on target with all of those bombshells, just going to be tearing apart that Vauxhall. The entire front has fallen off, Mr. Prime Minister. Don't worry, we towed it outside of the environment. If any of you know that sketch, you know why it is so funny. There we go. Ash and Gold now recognize the situation, saying, oh shit, I better move. Starts to break off their escorting assets. These things do not have a heading set either, so now they're going to present broadside. Oh, these Voxels are not long for this world. Bombshells not going to be effective against these already, like, untouched... no, sorry, correction. Bombshell not going to be effective against these untouched targets yet, but the Plasma is going to start adding up, and then we will see just what happens. Bombshell does not quite have the armor pen to get through the CLs, especially with their angled armor plating. Toxic, realizing they need to make a play and soon, going to split off and commit to the C point here. This did bad things for Team My Burning Lance before, where they split off and got themselves focus fired down. We're seeing now a heavy trade here. The cost of a singular multi-mission tug, about 450 points for a 1,000 point Vauxhall, is never a trade you really want to be making, especially not at this stage of the game where we are just kind of getting started. ANS not quite into the second quarter, and that is, yeah, that's going to be the end of this liner. Good night, as all the 100 mil going to start biting into it now. Plasma in turn adding up on LN number 3, which is taking a lot of damage. Dodging in the open like this can be achieved if you have 1 or 2 Raider drives, but unfortunately not electing to bring that, just trying to go for the Rapid Cradle build instead. Relief finally arrives in the form of Von Luck deciding to say something about this enemy frontline that's gone uncontested. Sultan Kiwi over here, the Gojira, is going to be suffering as the C-30 start getting those 450 shots put in. 450 effective against both liners and against these CLs. They both kind of occupy that like 1,000 point relatively fast vessel. So going to see how effective Von Luck is able to get their guns down range, as there's just a lot of OSP beef still alive, and we're seeing the second ship here getting pretty torn up. This thing has suffered a significant amount of damage, losing its lockers here. Not the most damage control on this thing to begin with. 8 teams is good, but only 3 restores means you're going to lose a lot of these guns very quickly. It tries to hide in the smoke cloud below the kind of like jellyfish tendrils below the starbase. Bad Kid committing into the backfield here. Looks like, once again, haha, even good players fall for decoys. Bad Kid getting seduced after a Clipper decoy here, trying to put this thing down with some good 250 HE rounds. They're going to all swing and a miss, see if they switch over to firing RPF rounds. D point and A point are going to maybe be kept at... Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Hello. They have RPF. Sprint mines are dangerously close. I don't think those Sarissas are an arc. Are they? Let's find out. Are the Sarissas nearby enough? The Sarissa is on the top side, going to be shooting at those other sprint mines. That's not going to be an arc. Ouch! Right into the guts. 2 more sprint mines for good measure. Smack, 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 smack. The Woody Doo is put in the dirt. That is crippling damage. You walk in with the wrong angle. Mines do, in fact, pay off. Mines and decoys. Oh my. OSP bringing their tech on display. Ash and Gold elect to move down here so they can potentially get this cap. Might walk into the sprint mines in question there. That is a good hit if we ever saw it. All right, Jar moving on to the B point here. Going to be doing a nice little cap out there. 3 cap once again secured for the OSP team. ANS does manage to walk onto the A point here, but ANS just unfortunately engaging piecemeal as they've split off all their formations. This is a very common problem that ANS suffers from. They tend to form these little task forces and not integrate their forces correctly. As we see with the OSP, they're just kind of doing some mixed selves there. Bad Cake recognizing game, tipping the hat over to, I think it was Jar with the mine launchers, was it? Or who had, yeah, it was Jar with the mine tug. Where is that thing? Yeah, the approaching the horizon on its safari under the map. It got its pay worth there, yeah. That's a equal tonnage trade easily. Those sprint mines are like 10 points a pop, and they just sacked like 500 points worth of ship. Excellent trade-off there, yeah. I love the sportsmanship we have on display. Happy Tuna noises. Yep, Tuna, our resident mine enthusiast. And also Tuna, the thing you can acquire from my channel by following and watching stuff. Little shameless shilling as we're just kind of going through these moments. LN number 1 over here from, who's that? Ash and Gold, just suffering right now as we watch the game kind of go through. All right, so what can OSP do right now, and what can ANS do right now? ANS can finally commit to a fight. There is basically nothing back here on the D point. They know that the entire OSP frontline has committed to winning this side, as they've done their big rotation. ANS now elects to spread out themselves a little bit more evenly, trying to pick off some of these isolated assets. The I Can't See hiding here in the backfield, shutting down its radar so it is not detected, I believe. No, actually, still got its Bridge Master on, so it needs to do that. Still, no emissions that could be detected by pinards if they are included in the fleet, so it's just kind of going to ground. Does get spotted, I believe, by the Axfords who have moved over here. Axford's going to be close to They'll Never Guess, which looks like it took a nasty salvo from the 250, I believe it was earlier. 450 might follow up on that. All right, let's take a look. So, once again, Go Alone, Die Alone is the name of the game as the CL got stuck. It's heroically staying alive somehow. It goes to show you can knock the entire front thing off these, but until you get that broadside shot, you can have a little bit of trouble taking out these nice, safe back slots. Usually see large lockers and the CIC or something put back here to keep them alive into late game. Still not going to hold out long enough against this like 9,000 point frontline commitment. Let's see where things end up developing. First Legion, Best Legion does get itself over here. I think that they shot down the mines. We did not see those detonate or go off, so either they shot them down or they got smoked. Hard to say exactly which. They might have got hit by mines. I don't know, actually. LN3 looks like it has gotten heavily smoked over here. They ate the mines? Okay, thank you, secondary spectators. We were looking at the overall board states. Yeah, holy shit, mines are good. You can put a little nasty danger egg nest behind and then have those barnacles bite somebody. Anyone who's ever stepped on a barnacle knows how much that hurts. Jar getting a little bit of fire shot towards them, but 450 is not very effective against these light vessels. As we can see here, they suffer a little bit from the very narrow profile, and if they do hit, typically overpens out the backside. 450 can do a good number against the rest of this front line, though. Front line in question looks like it's committing towards the kind of jellyfish tendrils underneath the map here. Maybe trying to hunt down the last of Ashen Gold's CLs. Ashen Gold, like, not completely out of the game, but their combat effectiveness heavily diminished. A lot of these tools that they had brought along just never getting used here, being taken out either by the aggressive frontline gunfight or otherwise just being bled out by mines there. See, Bad Kick commits off a singular asset, trying to do a little bit of the split play, committing a bit too much maybe to just the task force bombings that they had before. Not quite able to get a good fight right now. Bad Kick does still have a Corvette back here holding down the east side, but Jar might be running over trying to say something about that. It does come down to a case of, does this Corvette have anything to defend itself? Answer is not really. It's got some AMMs, I do believe, and a chaff piece, but I don't think that's going to be enough to see off a T-20 shuttle that wants your point. In fact, I don't even know if that thing is armed. Yeah, I don't know. If those are not offensive, this thing is unarmed, so it can get its point taken from it by Jar in the backfield here. Jar, little back cap enthusiast we saw in the other games. Monitors moving around. We're going to see Jar also has assets up top here that are getting detected, unfortunately, by something or other. What spots this, actually? How would I just say? There it is. The frigate's briefly detecting a Jar, realizing, oh shit, I better go to ground, and quickly moving back into cover. Looks like this other one might still be seeing it. This thing has a frontline radar. I don't know how to judge distance with that verticality, but there we go. Jar going to ground there, having the back cap asset ready for the C point if there's an opening. Von Luck on the top of the map, never having a frontline fight that they could really commit to. Cast a couple of their rounds downrange, but for the most part, this has just been OSP's game to win. They've managed to get themselves into the third quarter now. 522 points on the board to ANS's 392. So that's a 30-point difference plus like 100. So that's 130 points then? Seems to work out for my math. Sultan Kiwi on Safari underneath the map here, trying to deal with this annoying little jamming shuttle. Or not jamming shuttle, jamming frigate over here. These shots are going wide as they are detecting only through the early warning. Sultan Kiwi, unfortunately, looks like they ate a shot over here and took the Bloodhound out. Yeah, that's it. That's going to be these Axfords moving over and finding that offset asset. Would have loved to have that thing provide a track over here. Instead, it's going to disappear. Sultan Kiwi, though, pretty much uncontested going towards that A point. We're going to see if Toxic wants to divert over assets or if they want to go for that decap. Looks like Bad Kick probably going to head on to the decap, so Toxic will be available to go towards that A-cap and resecure it. These CLs are pretty wounded, and getting into close quarters combat with something like this 100 mil bulker, not really what they want to be doing. They're taking some damage, as we see here now. They're trying to bear to target, but not really finding it. There we go. Now they're on target. Ashen Gold going to be suffering from more 100 mil HE as they finally lock in and bite. Now, this thing is not very plasmid, so these are actually going to bounce for the most part. Does have the plasma still available here. Anyways, OSP Frontline continuing the rotation. Let's go reverse NASCAR as they are turning over here. Actually, you know what? I can just do this. I flip the map over. Yeah, totally. We are NASCAR, baby. Yeah, rotate. Woo! Let's go back to normal mode. Anyways. Plasma guns firing off here as they're going to find Bad Cake has only a trio of frigates, not the critical mass blob that you wanted before with all of its jamming. The isolation power of this hang-up plus the blanket jammers is a really cool idea to like try and keep somebody from seeing you. Unfortunately, they're fighting off against like, what? two Acellos over here with intact CR-75. That's got some good communications power that can probably punch through that hang-up. Going to see the Halt Hilt over here going to be meeting its end at the barrels of all of this OSP 100 mil. All right, let's see where they end up going. A crit going off on that in the VLS cell. This thing does appear to have, I think, AMMs, or maybe they're offensive. I don't know, actually. Can't really tell. Going to see Jar heading over here. Jar committing onto the point. This is what I love to see. Cap players working in unison with their frontline assets. Frontline has opened an opportunity, seeing off these escorting frigates here who would normally play goalie duty and destroy this small shuttle. Shuttle, in turn, has free opportunity to hop on that E point and make that cap happen. Von Luck is holding down the seaside here. Jar thinking about it, but maybe thinking twice, realizing, oh, that's a lot of Axer. It does take some damage there from 450 at one point. But as we see here, once again, the overpen only dealing about 20% of its listed damage. Gonna go, woo, swing and a miss right out the other side. Toxic, in turn, moves over here. Bad Cake commits onto the point, like we said. Gonna see that Sultan Kiwi was seen off here briefly. That 450 over from Toxic was enough to make them think twice. Still, they might be able to do a little bit of a runaround and catch these frigates and this CL over here on a bad angle. Sultan Kiwi also consolidating their forces with the other frontline that they've got here, just trying to get that 100 mil on target. ANS does look like it's going to secure a 4 cap for a time here, but in turn, OSP is about to get onto that 3 cap here. So, question is, what is stopping OSP right now from going over onto the A point? And the answer is basically nothing. Toxic and Von Luck are the frontliners and need to be committing onto these, because currently we've just been seeing these sweeper assets of Bad Cake and Ash and Gold over here just getting bled out one by one, piece by piece. Axfords have not found the fight they want. They have picked off a couple of the backline assets. Sultan Kiwi lost their early warning and Bloodhound monitor back here. And in turn, the goalie device from Jar was bled out by that 450 from earlier. Still continuing to fire on it, even though this ship is in fact dead. So probably was a recent death. We don't see any life pods coming from that. Continuing their hang-up adventures, that they're trying to isolate these assets, just maneuvering around these drills right now. It's kind of just a ring around the rosy fight, as neither team really committing into like a super strong frontline fight. Like Ash and Gold was found out in the backfield, but then just committed to running the hell away, which was the right call against that much frontline. I wouldn't take a 3K versus a 9K, not on any day of the week that I'm not getting paid overtime. Anyways, Jar going to be getting booped in the butt here, as you can find that, yes, if you get the right angle, you can find 450 effect as you punch through like the entire backside of this thing. It's going to get itself going off with a drive crit there, fuel line fire. Not a reactor bloom, so sadly no spicy danger. So that's a small pickoff of like 100 points or so. All right. Teams are starting to equalize out here. 50-point deficit or so for the ANS. They hold onto a 3 cap at the moment. Both teams into the third quarter comfortably, starting to move along here, so we'll see just where they end up going with this one. Jar sitting in the backfield here, going to defend B point in case Ash and Gold tries to walk onto it. Ash and Gold does not have any offensive firepower on this thing, so if Jar is on the ball and able to recognize situation, does have radar coverage over here. They're detected, but can definitely see off that threat. Jammers are quite good, especially with those tugs and their relatively small signature size. It's enough to hide behind with the very powerful Bellbird Jammer for at least the 45 seconds or so. 90 seconds if you battle short. All right, going to see some lighter assets. Again, Bad Cake just trying to play this like dodge dance game, keeping the enemy's attention, jingling keys in front of them, saying, hey buddy, I'm over here. Yes, you should be paying attention to me. Pay no attention to the Axfords behind the curtain. Gonna see now. All right, here we go. Sultan Kiwi decided that they want a piece of this. Gonna be heading over here towards Ash and Gold. This ship is going surprisingly slow. Is it just perspective? No, it's just perspective, actually. It's just that. Yeah. 27 meters a second, now kicking on those flank thrusters as they finally get their main drives engaged, deciding, hey, this is a free point, don't mind if I do. Ash and Gold still wounded, but able to contribute a little bit of firepower here. Losing the ammo elevators and such early on is going to hurt their damage over time, but still 2 ammo elevators and 4 turrets is enough to make at least this bulker think maybe there's a little bit of a threat over here. See them trying to go against the... Are they even on track, actually? They are on track. They just don't have range. Probably a misallocation of targets there. Making sure that thing is dead so they can secure that point. We see escorting assets here. We have a Jar in the backfield ready to commit on target if they want to just blow right past. Teams, again, like we mentioned, are kind of tightening up here. Sensor warfare is going to be a big thing in this game, as there's a lot of empty open space. All right. Jar looking for a pickoff here. Going to be finding some ARAD ACT missiles going out here. I don't believe that there's interceptors on station right now. Lightning Flight is here, but they are not on intercept duty. Jamming is going to do something here. Sarissas look like they're going to find this. Let's watch on the approach. Seeing a little bit of Mark 64 go off there. Is the Sarissa in arc? Yes, we're going to see 2, but one of them is going to find its way in the front there. Takes an ammo elevator and makes that blanket jammer very unhappy. Not the worst we could have seen, but there is a follow-up salvo coming now with the 100 mil gun. Should see this thing get on target before too long. Queuing up some more missiles here. Let's see how much you got left in the bank. Still got some more missiles. Sundial privilege revoked. I think Jar literally stole this build from me. I am very happy about that. Anyways, counter jam is issued here. They do not see anything they need to burn through and jam once again. Jar occupied by trying to do some back cap duty here. All right, Sultan Kiwi finds in the backfield Ash and Gold's last really kind of like combat effective vessel and is going to be putting Plasma and 100 mil downrange. Not the most plasma dealt to this thing quite yet. We see these guns are still intact, but once those plasmas add up, it's going to be just a rapid undoing because you can switch over to the very, very powerful HEHC rounds and just completely core that thing. B-Cap is underway, as we see over here. Ashen Gold was able to preserve one of their assets, is enough to get onto that back cap right now, but Jar does have a ship nearby that could contest and recap that. OSP Frontline doing a little bit of a kind of misplay here. They're committed over here and just never really engaged with the ANS Frontline. They need to commit back and decide which 3 points are we going to hold to comfortably win this. They are only ahead by 20 points right now. Bad Cake doing the good job at just providing a nice distraction over here. Keeps the OSP kind of honest at the moment. They're not able to freely rotate around. There's just this little distraction here that makes them think twice. Bad Cake has an opportunity now to potentially try and aggress onto this Bulker, but I don't think they're going to get there in time. The liner here, I say liner because LN2, is missing one of its guns. The other two are trying to fire, but it's out of ammo elevators in the front. So 1 ammo elevator and 3 Mark 64 is not going to be the greatest. Here we go. Toxic finally committing on target. There we go. Gets that 450 going out there. Capper War continues as Galactic Melody looks like it has lost its magazine. Needs to fix that very fast. Bad Cake probably going to win this fight, though, if they can just constantly be firing HE rounds and keeping that thing redded out. We'll see just how good their damage control ends up being or not. If they get that magazine up for a millisecond, that missile is ready to fire, so we'll see if this thing gets slugged out from point-blank range. Does still have its Sarissas, but we'll see just how strong that goes. Capper War is quite fun. Like we mentioned, Jar now going on Safari, seeing what is up here. They're going to see it's a CL, but they're not going to know just how tough it is or not. Should see this thing, yep, is in fact detected now, so we'll see what Jar ends up committing or not. Gaming Royale trying to find their way onto somewhere. Looks like they're going towards that C point high. Both teams now pretty equal. ANS pulling just barely ahead. Might win it on the cap. There we go. Bad Cake recognizing cap point back here is very important. Going to be seeing if they can provide a little bit of relief. Ashen Gold with like a skeleton and a dream trying to make their way on the A point here. The 450 going to be doing a lot, and the 250 fire support from Bad Cake also going to help out quite a bit. The isolation effect of those hang-up jammers means that this thing is deaf and blind. Cannot see what is attacking it. Loses its large storage there and a bunch of its guns. See over here, Von Luck just kind of rotating around. Not really any like frontline fight has happened between these heavy capitals on both sides. We saw that there was a quartet of these Axfords that were brought along, and then a trio of these heavy, command cruisers, along with then the bulkers and the monitors, and neither of them really finding each other. Alright. A-cap is being attempted here. We're going to see that Sultan Kiwi is trying to go to ground, use the cover of this mining drill thing to see if they can't stop taking 450. Unfortunately, oh no, a drive snipe goes off. That's going to be very bad news. Immobilized liners are not long for this world, especially under sustained 450 fire. 3 different players ingressing onto this thing, trying to hold that cap down. 4-cap looking to potentially push the ANS team into the 4th quarter here to see how that ends up developing. Let's see who is in reserves here. Jar has a lot of stuff ready and set up to go. We're going to see them now moving on target. Probably recognizing that, hey, if you haven't shot me, you probably don't have anything left. Maybe that's the wounded ship. They should be in visual range now to see that this thing does not have any guns or restores left. That means Jar is free to step onto this point and take it. Cap War continues in the backfield here. We see that, yes, the magazine has been fixed, but no, the MLS-2 has been knocked out as well. More shots raining into this thing as they are just taking Mark 64 shot after shot. Galactic Melody has the opportunity to potentially swing this one around if they can get a lucky repair and then follow up fire off, but not seeing it right now. OSP needs to make a break for the points and fast. We're seeing Sultan Kiwi moving themselves up here towards Seaside, going to be committing a lot of their tonnage. 2 Acellos and a bulk freighter is more than the 2 Axfords up here. That can convince them to go elsewhere. Otherwise, the Axfords might have to commit onto the C point, hold onto that cap lead. 784 to 750 on the board. That is a 34 cap lead for the ANS team, although it's going to quickly dry up as the B point will normalize here. Sultan Kiwi just suffering as they do, I think, manage to get the drive back briefly, but still having that bad angle there as Toxic just constantly laying in 450 fire. This ship is going to be structure broken before too long. All these empty components. Does get the drive back, starts trying to move into cover, but too little too late as they're getting engaged on by these 2 players here. In turn, their Jar does get that back cap. As there's just been an interesting ring around the rosy evasion game as both teams try and see if they can't get a favorable cap off. We'll see if Jar is able to put anything onto the D point over here. It looks like they might be able to. The Distant Mirage possibly coming to relieve the frigate tug fight over here, or maybe heading on towards the D point. We'll see just what their pathing ends up doing. Could be doing a rotation and then going up.
The enemy secured zone boxer.
B cap flips there. That's going to be 2 caps for the OSP. C cap in turn is also attempting to be done here, as we see there is a bulk freighter and a cap shuttle moving onto point. Finally, the frontline fight engages in the 4th quarter as the Acellos are going to start opening up on these ships. They're catching somewhat in the broadside, not where you want to find yourself. Interrupt jammer is going to get smacked there, but not really a missile to be seen nearby. 100 mil and Plasma Bulk are going to be rotating over, loading out those guns, going to be starting to kick Plasma onto target. That will be a 3 cap here. They can tie this up pretty fast. I think if we get the calc going right, I did ask at one point with a feature suggestion if we could get like a victory timer here with current score. It would make it so we don't have to do our little napkin math. Very desirable feature. Anyways, seeing down here, this is going to be a cap held, and I don't see anything that can relieve it. Maybe Bad Cake gets over here and contests this still. This is a healthy ship, has C-30, has its bulk mag, that's still able to fire its gun. Going to be doing a little number against one of these liners. C-cap is secured there, as we now will see it. This is going to be a 3-cap situation for OSP, 2 caps for ANS. I believe that ANS clutches this out slightly. This calc is hard, though. We'll wait till we get a nice even number and then see who adds it up faster, because you can just do the remainder. Should see in a second. It will be, let's do that. It'll be 864. So that's 1,000 minus, hang on a sec, math. Chow. That is going to be 136 points here. Divided by 2 is going to come out to be 68. Versus we do 200 divided by 3 is going to be 666. 666 to 668. This is, I think, either a OSP win or a tie. Not certain on that one, actually. We'll have to see how it develops. Dagger Cap might say something about that, though. That's going to be a quick little deciding factor. Here we go. Attempting to snipe this now as Bad Cake realizes they've been kicking a dead... I don't even know what you call this. It's not even a dead tug, actually. It's just a wounded one. They've been trying to kick that thing over here. Unfortunately, Jar, the back cap hero of this series, has been walking their way onto the D point. There's nothing in range soon enough to stop this thing getting that cap flip. That might be just enough points to decide this match. Hitting that heroic victory score threshold before your enemy is the only thing that matters. You can get the brakes beaten off you the entire game, but as long as you hit that 1,000 point first, you are going to be the victor and advancing on to the next round of this tournament. Boom, flick to a ship in the backfield there. Frontline fight commencing up top here. Von Luck getting a lot of damage dealt. This is what happens when you get broadside of these Axeroids. Whole bunch of damage to the drives, reactors, and other soft component internals. Plasma and 450 doing a number, as this is just a point-blank fist fight commencing. Kind of funny how we had the most open map in the series so far, and it revolves into just, hey, let's go point blank and just, basically put like... Yeah, I think that legitimately these gun barrels, if you put them any closer, you'd be basically just handing the bullet through the airlock. Let it rip, boys. Ash and Gold steps off the point down here, and Jar might be doing the same if they're not careful. I think they're on an orbit command. Have to watch out for that. 4-cap secures it. That's going to be OSP pulling just ahead enough here. Seals are going to be taking a advantageous position. Any cap point in this late game matters. ANS might be able to get some cap points back, but I don't think they're going to do it in time for this game. ANS just suffering now as they're getting all of this plasma and other shots put into them. That is not how you want to be taking an Axford fight. Completely getting the broadside treatment here as this thing is fully redded out across those internal essential modules like that CIC and magazine. No return salvo for you, my good sir or madam. All right, this other one, the Ferric Might, is still doing okay here. But yeah, old meets new on the top of Bulwark Naval Yards as we see the 450 Accelos squaring up against the 450 Axfords. Like I had mentioned before, ANS unfortunately kind of breaking off into those task force groups. Sultan Kiwi showing ramming speed, trying to sumo wrestler these ships off of the point if they can. That is what happens when you have teams that kind of like do this isolated task force grouping. If you don't have your allies supporting you, you can end up finding yourself very isolated and undone. Decap is going to get back in the hands of the ANS here, but Jar made the play that was the correct call, sacrificing one of their assets to tie up that cap lead here. I'll kill you with my blade. Drive closer. They're just, yeah. There's no boarding action in Nebulous Fleet Command, but I do have a feeling that both of these cruisers right now are exchanging all the insults they can. See these observation decks up here. They're just, there's a guy who just posted like a big old insult page, and in turn on the Acela is going to be another guy who just posts up a giant-sized Uno reverse card. 450 just biting its way into the Ferric Might over here. God damn. D getting taken, but 3-cap. Yep, it was enough at the time to win them the game. It was very close beforehand, but Jar with that heroic Safari shuttle on rotation there. That thing might have gone like the entire way around the map. I'm not sure where all the shuttles ended up in this game, but that will be enough to see the OSP most likely taking this victory. ANS in turn, though, looking like they might be getting onto the E point here with Bad Cake. Going to see if they can maybe tie this up. It's going to be quite close here as we enter this final quarter. Backcap versus backcap, we'll see just what ends up happening. B and A points are secured here. D point, maybe Sultan Key, we got something to say about it. Trying to dive for it. Toxic's still pretty healthy and not been knocked out quite yet. Will this be enough as we see this cap going through here? OSP probably going to get another third tick here. We'll see just if this ends up adding up or not. 3-cap is a hell of a drug there. OSP looking like they're going to take this. Probably going to get another tick on that, put them at 970. That should be enough. The 70 points needed is less than the 36 points needed here. It's going to be a pretty comfortable match decided, I believe. Oh, Jar trying for a heroic last stand here, trying to commit one of their shuttles, drift this thing on point to the reinforced CIC. See if you can maybe contest it at the last second. Jar, our little cap hero who could. Go for it, Jar, with your heroic shuttles. Show them what for. They're getting jammed out in RPF, but they might just drift onto the point here and force a contestation. The Toxic even engaged anyone in their Axfords. Yeah, Toxic was able to get a little bit of contributing fire, but once again, the ANS just kind of rotating away. Axford's never able to get a fight until the late stages here, where Von Luck just unfortunately getting found out by 2 of the frontline fleets here. That was Gaming Royale with these Acellos, and I believe it was Fresh Dumbledore had the monitor escort. Who was else on this point? These guys, I think it was Sultan Kiwi. Yeah, Sultan Kiwi had lost that one, but yeah, it was just those 2 on the front line then. Yeah, GG, well fucking played. That's going to be GG, well played, called here. OSP is going to take it. That is going to be the deciding match tick here in a moment. Team My Burning Lance is going to be knocked out. Baby Blue Seals will advance as a Reactor Bloom sends us off at the final stage of this game. Good game, well played. The last heroic stand, a difference of like 36 points. 36 points on the back cap deciding the match, showing that Nebulous is not over until it is. Those last second back caps you get, ratting yourself into the late game, getting those Corvettes and shuttles on point, finalizing your victory here, just locking in a little bit. Minor differences, just a single cap holdout for another 30 seconds to a minute could have decided that game. Thank you, everyone, for playing. This has been a hell of a series to cast. Good game, well played.
Pardon for interrupting you, Neko. If you can hear me, Neko.
Are they not unlimited? Hang on, sorry.
Debrief at the event stage in the main Neb Discord.
All right, yes, good call. You know what? Let's add on to the third recording here. We'll do a post game. I'll see you up there. All right, where are we going? Where is it? It was the event stage. Let's hop up into there. Oh, music. I should probably mute that in case that's copyrighted. Whoops. There we are. Alrighty. Yeah. Let's keep this recording going. We'll just do the little post-game screen here with all the associated players and such. I'm not sure if I can turn Fugi on and get the pictures or not. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay. Hot damn.
Alright, let's get the players up here as well.
Yes.
They're still all in their tournament chats.
Yep. Vassal, if you want to go fetch them, I can just keep folks occupied here. There we are. Still have a little bit of time before ad break kicks on. So yeah, we got a 15-minute post game. Wow, what a series played between these teams. Just go through the damage control boards here, post game boards. Yeah, Ash unfortunately getting caught there at the start of the match. Toxic able to do some good damage though, just taking nothing in return. Von Luck getting a decent little fist fight at the top of the game there. Gaming Rail, good numbers on Toxic and Gaming just going through this pretty much untouched, but dishing it out. Jar with the heroic back caps there, and Bad Cake trying to make something happen was kind of interesting police squadron. I think the lack of the Corvettes in the late game there with the fast movers really decided that, because if you just got on a point like a few seconds sooner, that could have been so close. Ooh. All right, most fun matches played in a while. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Sultan Kiwi on this one. This is why I love tournament games, because you get to see people come out with their A game and show it off like this, and yeah, these were chef's kiss. Any other big standout winners there? Sultan getting a nice little sweep on some of their stuff. Holding on pretty well with the Gojira there to the late game. Just going for cap where they could. All right. Where is... There we are. We got more players.
Fresh Dumbledore in game. Apologies. I'm just trying to get everyone up
in
here.
Discord, he's ES.
ES. Thank you very much. Make sure we get all the players up here.
I had to make a cheat sheet because I had to match names for that.
Bad Cake, get Bad Cake up here. Who are we missing? Who do we still need
Just
upstairs?
a quick one. One of our players had to dodge. He's got a prior commitment. So,
that's
no worries, no worries.
yeah.
Is that everyone then?
Toxic.
I don't think so. I think I'm missing someone.
See.
Who am I missing?
We got Sultan. We got Gaming.
ES
we got
needs to
Jar.
accept the stage invite. ES, if you
Yeah, there we are.
there we are. So that should
Ash
be
and Gold.
8
Bad
minus
Kick's here.
1.
Toxic's here.
Yep, that's all the players besides the one that had to drop out.
Excellent. So, players, how did you feel about that series? Because those were probably some of the best Nebulous games I've got the pleasure of casting in like the past month or so.
It was so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very fun. My heart is gonna explode.
Can't
It was
type.
pretty tough for us. We're we pushed pretty hard, I think. And you guys did really well. Like, we really had to step up our game on the second and third matches, especially after that first one. It really did come down pretty close to the line every time on caps.
Yeah.
Was there a match that it wasn't between 100 points? All of those were just so close.
Pretty sure all of those
Yeah,
were
it's
within 100
really
points to
close.
win. So it goes to show, like, it's not over till the very late game. Like, that last second back cap you get in some of those matches really deciding it.
Yeah. Like on that, on that last game there, we're saying one of the things that probably came down to was we didn't initially sit on C. Like, we had those axes up there, and initially we were just skirmishing backwards, so you kind of guys got the cap, and then we were like, oh shit, we kind of need to die on that cap. That's kind of what we needed to do, block it as long as possible.
Yeah. I did the count at the last second in that final bit, and it was like, I think it was an even split or like slightly favored. It was just Jargon that last second D back cap in the final round that decided it.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that my shuttles at the very top of the map never really got to make a good play. That was something I was quite looking forward to.
I was watching them the
setting
entire
up for some
game.
massive back caps.
Sitting there with a gun, just you try it, I swear to God. I was very aware of those after we saw them there. I was like, they're just waiting to do exactly what they did in the last couple of games.
I will say, I'm very glad you were handling the cap fleet, because I lost track of one of my liners, one of the 2 ships I'm responsible for. Gojira was not supposed to be down there, but he did well enough, I guess.
Is that the one that went for your was it your natural?
I think so.
The one that dual
back
the
on
voxel, yeah.
That honestly caused us a lot of trouble because no one was really expecting it to be there. It just
I wasn't
kinda rocked
expecting
up.
it to be there either, so I mean, hey.
I would not necessarily call that dueling the Vauxhall, because dueling implies that I had guns or ammunition left.
I will point
Yeah.
out with
Radar
that
panels.
Vauxhall there on the C cap, which was OSP's natural, you did actually have your guns, and I believe you had your magazine too.
Yeah, the main difficulty there, levity aside, was that I had 3 out of 4 of my radar panels knocked out by, I forget what it was, maybe bombshell.
Yeah,
during the
probably
retreat.
bombshell.
And so I had to keep angling slightly to the side so I could actually see him well enough to shoot.
That'll do it then.
We were really
Also-
lucky to get some damage into the voxels at first. Like in the beginning of
so
the
early
game.
on.
If we saw, it was
Also-
Really
it was quite interesting, like the deployment you all like both did, where you both committed to a reverse NASCAR death ball, and then just kind of had this awkward moment where you were halfway through the game, you're like, okay, what do we do? Like, where is everyone? Just kind of looking
I
around.
guess we have to fight.
Definitely, yeah. We had a point where we were kind of like, okay, we're both sitting on opposite ends of the map. Which way do we go?
We saw then the ANS team in the final game broke off on kind of their tasks force, like each player forming up their groups as you would expect kind of like from your lobby select editor. But the OSP kind of retained a bit more cohesion, which won them that C fight pretty handily, getting that 2v1.
Yeah, if I'd been on the cap a bit earlier, I was not banking on that being quite a fast and furious race to the cap.
Yeah. I think we're just skirmishing at that point with that, because they had a decent spot there. The Axes just shoot down on you and kind of kite away if they needed to. We kind of it didn't sink in initially that this was a cap that was going to be live or die on.
Yeah.
We were just sitting
to
there
gaming.
trying to deal some damage and making it painful while we tried to cap other shit.
Props to gaming, because he wanted to go for C the entire time, and we all said wait for it until the very last, and then when he called it in the end, it actually got us the game on C.
Yeah.
Worked out.
Also, whoever ran the frigate grouping, that was like really terrifying to see, because I shot missiles at it and everything, and it had Ceris's, and I just couldn't do anything against it. So it was like it was really zoning me very effectively.
I could almost
We had
never
a few
get
hits in
vision
the
on
first
them.
game. Yeah. Yeah, I was doing my best to jam the fuck out, especially when I was like pushing over to what was E, I think. And you guys had like 3 fleets there. I'm like, oh, I hope my jam is good enough. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short expedition.
Spent
Yeah,
a
my
good
mate-
third of the map jammed.
Yeah. The Gemma was really annoying.
I've never been more terrified of rains in my life, and I was playing capital ships.
It is kind of cool, like kind of the reminiscent of the old classic Reigns blob, still showing that you still have like kind of the like similar ability to use it, but in the age of craft, which I like to point out, we saw no carriers in those games. I don't know if y'all conspired ahead of time to just like full fist fight it, but
That's why they were so fun.
Well, what it came down to give some insight into the thought process on our end when we were designing fleets, was everyone spends so much money on defending themselves from craft. Usually. Underline that about 2 times mentally, because that did not happen with our opponents. Because why would they think, well, we need to defend ourselves from craft? They can just go full frontline.
And it's actually interesting because in the match that we lost, which was Alliance, us playing Alliance, we had someone call out, "Oh, I have like 24 tornado missiles on my ship. Don't worry about craft." 48 tornado missiles.
Yeah, we saw those
AN, okay.
sites.
So on AN, at
Tumbleweed.
least, you had a bunch of points that you didn't end up using, which was the goal there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think they shot down. That was like probably the only carrier we had. I think we had a backpack at one point. I had like a monitor with a couple pikes and shit on it. That was like the most craft we brought. And I think you SDM'd a few of those, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, I got one. I think one of the Hurlbirds.
And on AN, the thought more came, if we're going to get run up on by a bunch of R3 Sturgeons, well, we can probably solve that with PD blobbing while not investing in huge amounts of SDMs that wouldn't get used if they didn't have a carrier, which ended up being a bit played out. Plus, my personal biases on the effectiveness of non-R3 munitions against opponents that know how to soft kill. So that's personal bias.
I think your Marauders on the Tumbleweed map were insanely fast. Like they caught us very unexpectedly.
Acello was that rushed onto Echo at the end of the Tumbleweed match. That was insane.
That
the
would have
burnt out one.
Yeah. We're watching. We're all like, going, it's gonna make it, and the bees went on. We're like,
Was
We're
so
just waiting
let
for
me
the beams
just
to
offer a little
rotate, and then
spectator
I was
here. Hang on.
freaking out thinking that I didn't have enough like rotational velocity to get beams on target. I was like, please, before it gets out of range.
It just ran past us. What are they doing?
Let me just
At
paint
the
y'all a
very
little
last
spectator
second.
picture here about what happened. The beam destroyers were whiplashes, so they were turning quite slow to try and reach it. The Acello in question had gotten completely gutted by the beams earlier on. It couldn't fight back, and it was just trying to burn towards the point. But what it actually did heroically was distract those beam destroyers so another ship could actually slide onto the point and cap it instead.
I actually had a shuttle cap that point too, while you guys were beaming the Acello. And I think I was at 5.3 kilometers or something too, so I was technically in range. The other thing too that you didn't
vision on that.
Yeah, I think you didn't. I think I had jammers on it, so I was just jamming you a bit there too.
That was your double Bellbird jammer, yeah.
Yeah. And then also that point near you guys too, because you had the accident and the 2 keystones there. I was kind of glad that you were beaming the dead Acello instead of trying to push that point. Because I think you would have rolled over what was there pretty hard if you'd pushed hard on it.
Who was the one playing the Frig Blob thing again?
That was me.
Me is who?
Bad Cake.
Bad Cake, sorry.
Bad Cake. I really like it. I would put some more sprinters in it and maybe 1 or 2 less frigates. So it's like slightly sized down, and then it's perfect. Like I've seen who was it? Quiz, I believe it was, run a pair of police frigs like that on a match I was playing against them, and that was legitimately terrifying. So like as like a pair of hunter killers like that, it would work perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was a little bit slow getting around, was one of the problems we had.
May I ask what drives you
finding
had
ways
on
to
the
split up.
Marauders? The drives on the Marauders?
Those are... One second. Actually,
We should clarify a little bit
didn't
here.
close
Which Marauders are you talking about?
Sorry, in the Tumbleweed match, there were a bunch of Marauders and Ostellus with crazy speed.
Yeah,
Long
the
hauls, right?
Acellos were also my design. I handed them to Toxic like 2 seconds before the match and was just like, here, go, take this. And he was like, what do you mean they have a single bulk bag? But, let's see. The line ships are... I'm opening the...
If you want to take a second, I can add another comment in here.
Long hauls. They're just long hauls.
Never mind.
What they come in default, I think, from the Azerite or whatever squadron that is, because that's where I copied and pasted mine from.
Mine are weird. They're fully reinforced, stacked in the nose, which is what saved one of them on B.
Oh.
You just took out the beam. Basically, took out the entire front reinforced section, but I kept shooting after that because they're designed to, ever since the elevation changes, bow tank. They're bow tanking line ships. That is exactly as insane as it sounds, but somehow it works.
Alrighty, I would like to now interject. Congratulations to Baby Blue Seals for their victory. A hard-fought 2-1. I hope to see you guys play again next week, I believe it is. Next week. We'll see how you all fare against your opponent's interstellar mailing company. Commiserations to my burning lamps. Besides that, thank you all for coming out tonight, especially all the viewers at home. And thank you, Neko, for casting these matches.
Hey, can't let you have all the fun.
Yeah, supposedly.